Vamos a continuar la lectura de Clap When You Land, de Elizabeth Acevedo. Camino, Yajaira. They've made a memorial outside of Papi's billiards. Under the green lights, where the bouncers stand, there's a blown-up picture of Papi smiling, holding a glass of what I imagine is whiskey out to the camera. Dre insisted on coming with me, and she is a sure presence behind me. I kneel and touch my hand to the gifts people left in Papi's honor. Flower wreaths, so many flowers, although Papi was always said, why pay money for a thing that will die in a week? The knickknacks built a lump the size of a billiard cube inside my throat. A lottery ticket, a bottle of shoeshine polish, a small Dominican flag, a baseball card of Robinson Cano, a little figurine of a man dressed in red and black. In history, we learn the Greeks made sure to die with a coin in their pocket to ensure their spirit could pay for the way to the other side. Remembering this, I give Papi the only kind of safe passage I have to offer. I kneel on the cold, hard concrete and fish the chess piece from my pocket. Set her, the polished black piece, right by a burning candle, a queen to guard him on his way. Papi's Billiards has always been a gathering place, and as I stand outside of it, I remember my last time here. It was after a match. Papi took me to his pool hall to celebrate. He rarely did that, said billiards wasn't a place for children, especially not his child. But on this night, he wanted to show off my trophy to his employees and friends. Surprised me with a cake and a glass of Coke. He had splashed with a little bit of rum. He pressed a code into the jukebox so that bachata songs blared out for free all night. My father left the country a few weeks later. I stopped playing chess soon after. I am quiet on the train ride home, my head against Dre's shoulder, as her breath puffs softly into my hair. She knows I hate riding the train alone. It's one of the reasons I think she pressed to come with me tonight. The last time I played chess, I won against a boy named Manny, who I played against before. He always smiled at me across the table, held my hand too long when we shook, and took both his wins and losses gracefully. But this is not a story about Manny. This is a story about winning, about feeling on top of the world, of feeling like a star had risen inside me, and maybe was shining on my face or glittering off my trophy last summer as I stood on the train station platform and prepared to go home. Papi was in DR at the time, so I attended the match alone. It was daytime and the train was packed, and I got on with my back to a man who leaned against the train doors. And when I felt a squeeze on my leg, I thought it was an accident. And when I felt fingers float up my thighs, I thought I must be mistaken. And when he pulled me under my skirt open handed, I dropped my trophy but did not scream, did not make a scene, did not curse him out. There was no strategy, no alternate plan, no way to win. There was just me stuck and being filled up on a public train, racing northbound, hard breath, sick, lost, anger has no place on the board. I was impotent in my feeling. Never let them see you slip, dripped on my brow. I don't think I liked it. It lasted more than one stop, more than two, more than three. Do you know what I mean? My body was not my body, could not be mine. He got off at 96th Street. I did not pick my trophy off the train floor. I did not cry until I got home, until Dre came in through the window, and we saw me trembling and held me close, and did not ask me anything, but still must have known how she ran the bath and folded my skirt into the farthest corner of my closet, and we never spoke of it. I did not cry over it again, but I knew I needed to speak to Papi. I hoped he'd have some words of wisdom, some response, but when I called him, he did not answer. Once I unfroze from what happened on the train, I tried frantically to reach him. I wanted to speak to the most protective man in my life. I wanted I wanted him to undo it somehow. I had a match in 2 days and I wanted to tell Papi I didn't want to go. I needed a break. I don't know why I felt like I needed his permission. After 3 days with no reply, I opened the cabinet where Papi put all his business papers in a folder, but the only papers were for the billiards here, nothing with a Dominican area code. Then at the bottom of the cabinet, half hidden by other files covered in dust, was the sealed envelope. I knew I should put it back. I knew it wasn't what I was looking for, but I opened it anyway. After what I found and what happened on the train, I skipped 2 tournaments, ones that had been difficult to qualify for. But on the evening of the third tournament, Papi called me huffing and puffing. He'd received an email from the tournament commission, disqualifying me from any other summer matches. When I answered the phone, Papi did not ask if everything was okay. I did not ask why he read that email, but none of my text, replied to none of my phone calls. He did not let me get a word in. He didn't ask why I answered with so much anger. And the truth is, I don't think I would have told about the man and the hand of my skirt in my panties, about the certificate in the file cabinet that made my father a liar. But I'll never know what I would have said, because Papi did not ask. He only lectured me and told me he was disappointed. After he hung up, I whispered into the phone all the ways that I was disappointed in him. If Papi wanted my silence, I vowed that day that he would get it. When Papi came home, a few weeks before school began back up, he ranted and raved. A few weeks before school began back up, he ranted and raved to Mommy that I had grown stubborn. He would walk into a room and yell I needed to grow up. I would simply go into my room or climb through Dre's window to escape having to look my father in the face. 21 days after. It's the last day of school. I walk through the school hallways like an alien has crept into my body. My arms don't work like they used to. I try to raise them to pick up my report card. I try to make them pick up a pencil as I sign myself out. I try to open my locker to remove my books. I try to keep them from trembling, but they only shake lightly at my side. And it's Dre who murmurs and reminds me I can do this. Keep on breathing. I mean, when it feels like the littlest thing is too much work, I guess I keep hoping if I just don't move at all, it will hurt less when the memory verges into me. It has been 3 weeks. I do not have a father anymore. Insurance representatives for the airline come to the house. Tio Jorge and Tia Mabel are already here. Although Tio Jorge practiced law in the Dominican Republic, I still think we should have a lawyer who practices here, but no one listens to me. The airline representatives open a folder and list the initial findings from the National Transportation Safety Board. I make sure to memorize the name of the organization that will help investigate what happened. When the reps are done, they look expectantly at us. Tio Jorge grabs the report and walks to the kitchen window, reading in the light of the setting sun. Mommy looks at me, and I know she wants me to translate. She didn't even catch. She didn't catch every word. Dinero, I told her softly. An advance payment, to be exact. So many dollars they've noted around my father's life. Un medio millón, Tio Jorge whispers. No one else says a word. Mammy begins to weep, while drilling a manicure nail into the wooden table until the sound feels like it's puncturing my ear, and I put my hand over hers. The Ireland representative say grievance. Don't say grief. Say unprecedented. Don't say crash. Say mechanical failure. Don't say dead. Say pilot error. Don't say dad. Say insurance policy. Don't say papi. Say advance compensation. Don't say his name. Say accident. Don't say sorry. Say loss. Say sorry. I say you're sorry. Things you can buy with $500,000. A car that looks more like a space creature than a car. A designer platinum purse to carry a small dog. A small dog. A performance by your favorite musical artist for your birthday. A diamond encrusted bottle of Dominican rum. A mansion. A yacht. 100 acres of land. Houses, but not homes. All 4 years of college or beautician school and certificate. 500 flights to the Dominican Republic. A $500,000 star chess sets with their accompanying boxes. 100,000 copies of Shakespeare's The Tempest. Apparently, a father. Money like this makes me think of a game show, and I wish I could phone a friend or use a lifeline. I wish a smiling host would pat my hand and have me crowdsource the audience for answers on what to guess next. $500,000 is more than my dad ever made, more than Mommy or I can begin to understand. Tio Jorge says we should still sue the airline. Tio Jorge says it might take years, but we are due a settlement. Tio Jorge says he can handle the finances. Tio Jorge says he can sell the billiards. Tio Jorge says he can open me a trust fund so the money is saved. Tio Jorge says he can hire a financial advisor or accountant. Tio Jorge says we need to set money aside for taxes. Tio Jorge says this should help with the funeral expenses. Tio Jorge says we shouldn't tell the rest of the family. Tio Jorge says. Mommy cuts him off. Jorge, you were your brother's consentido, and I appreciate your advice. But the one who needed it was him, and you didn't offer it when he was here. I look from Mommy to Tio Jorge, trying to understand what isn't being said. Did Mommy know about the certificate? Did Tio? Mommy must realize how harsh she sounds because she flattens her hand on her thighs. What I mean is, Yajaira and I will figure this out on our own. I've never heard Mommy be so brisk with Tio Jorge. Tia Mabel lowers her eyes. She traces the lines of wood on the kitchen table. Tio Jorge seals his lips like an envelope and silently exits the room. There is a community garden around the corner where I know I'll find Dre if she's not home or answering her phone. That is her happy place. And she's mine. I walk there and sit on a bench. I watch her long bent back, the bright purple cap pulled over her short hair as she hums something I'm assuming is blaring through her earpods. Probably Nina Simone. Dre loves Mrs. Nina. We'll play her when she misses her father. We'll play her when she's angry. We'll play her when we see videos on social media of another black boy shot, of another black girl pulled over, another kid in the Bronx stabbed outside a bodega. We'll play her while painting protest signs. Dre plays Nina when two girls holding hands are jumped, or a kid who calls themselves them is made fun of and it goes viral. Dre turns to Nina, turns up Mississippi got him. Me, I want to bang my fist. I want to scream the world apart from the seams. But Dre, she gets a glint in her eye, like she's imagining she can repot us, all of us, onto a new planet, where we can grow with deep and understanding roots, where we will rise and flourish into tree houses, and Nina will rain, and Nina will breeze, and Nina will be the sunshine. I must make a noise at my imaginings, because Dread turns around, cocks her head, pulls out her earbud, and places in my ear. Goes right back to packing dirt around a bed of basil. Birds flying high. You know how I feel. Pausa.